Hey, I'm Tara Telke. I'm the visual art instructor at Rockdale High School. Each year I pick a theme. The theme for the 2020-21 school year is going to be Art Through the Ages. And I thought I'd just show you some examples that either I made or some former students made when I've taught some of these lessons in the past. So with Art Through the Ages, we will study ancient cultures, prehistoric cultures before language was invented. And we will start with cave paintings. So some of the earliest cultures that have cave paintings were Australia, Europe, and the southern tip of South America. So we might study some images of prehistoric animals as well to do that. Or we might use some rudimentary drawing and painting tools. The next culture that we'll probably study will be the Australian Aborigines. This is one of the oldest civilizations known to date. These are the African people on the continent of Australia. They do a lot of dot paintings. And so one of the instruments that they've invented is the didgeridoo, and usually they're much longer tubes than that. But because we're going to be working online, we'll probably use some toilet paper and wrapping paper tubes and stuff from home, paper towel tubes, and decorate them with dot paintings. And these are all examples that I made when I formerly taught at middle school. After that, we'll probably study some ancient basket weaving from Africa. There's basket weaving all around the world, but most art forms originated in Africa. And before we get to baskets, we'll probably do some simple paper weavings. So these are some weavings that students of mine did at Memorial Middle School. We'll start with straight lines, but then we'll also kind of get creative and weave some curvy lines and some things that are a little bit more difficult, and then maybe do some yarn weaving. And then we'll study African basket making. And these particular baskets, I believe, are from Ghana, but I might need to research that again. But we'll be studying baskets from Morocco, South Africa, Central Africa, all sorts of places, Egypt as well. And anyway, we're going to use this particular form it's similar to what you see in sweetgrass baskets in South Carolina. But these are some that my mom got for me. And we're going to use the same technique, but we're going to use yarn and rope to create these baskets. And so this is an example I made. Obviously, I don't have the same experiences as these master craftsmen in Africa, but this is a fun activity. Then we'll also study some civilizations in Asia, particularly the Tang Dynasty in China. I always kind of focus on these periods of enlightenment, and there's always little pockets in history where certain civilizations were very wealthy, they flourished, they came up with lots of inventions. The Tang Dynasty is one of these great civilizations. They invented all sorts of things, gunpowder, paper money, silk, all sorts of things. And they were in particular used to using blue and white, they created white pottery that had kind of a blue glaze on it. And all the designs were, a mix of these shades of blue and white. And so these are some examples that I made. We'll also study the ancient civilization of Egypt. So I, don't have a whole bunch of examples from my students. This is when I taught 6th or 7th grade. And I believe we kind of did images of pharaohs. But this is one that I spent a lot of time on. We'll probably do something related to hieroglyphs as well as some of the ceramics that they did in Egypt. And this is my little kitty that apparently wants to be in the video. This is Mal. I got her. She's my little quarantine kitty, and she's super social, and she likes to sit by me while I'm doing art projects, or destroy my art, more accurately. Anyway, so moving from Asia, we will also study Indian cultures. We'll study henna tattoos. So these are not permanent tattoos, but temporary tattoos. And some of these are examples by me, some of these are by my former students, but we traced our hands, and actually some of us did our feet, and just, drew designs on here. And some of them mimic the actual wedding ceremonial henna tattoos that are done. Some were just more free-formed. Also, we'll study mandalas, excuse me. This is an ancient Indian art form as well. They're kind of a meditation device. Usually they're radially symmetric, so the design starts in the center and radiates outward. Lots of times we kind of cut an individual pie piece like this draw a design on that and then trace it multiple times so it's easy to get it really accurate geometrically and things like that. These are some that I did. I actually didn't feel like this one was quite finished, but it's still pretty exciting as is. Then we will do a little bit of European studies. We won't do a lot of European studies because a lot of the European cultures are more modern rather than prehistoric. But we will look at some stained glass windows, which is an older art form that really began there and not so much in other cultures. Again, these are some examples that my students did. We used some acetate and some marker and things like that and black paper to get those. And then we will also study we call a yarn painting, which is an art form in South America. We'll also study some of their metal work. I don't have any examples, but I'm excited about a metal activity that we'll hopefully get to do. But these are some examples that my students made. This is an example I made of a yarn painting. It's really just kind of a collage done with yarn. Now, of course, it's we're still kind of working out how we're going to get materials to you guys. So there might be some drawing activities and some basics that we do a little bit first semester, and prayerfully we will be teaching in person in January, and you'll get to do all sorts of things, work with clay. But in the meantime, we will be doing a couple activities that just kind of help us learn about terms and things like that. So I have us make these little booklets. This booklet is about the elements of art, and it has line, shape, form, space, color, value, texture. So you basically draw illustrations that kind of define the terms. This is a great way for you to just kind of get familiar with the words that I expect you to know. Another one I did was the principles of design, and these little booklets are actually just made from a piece of typing paper. We kind of divide it up into 8 segments. But these are emphasis, contrast, movement, repetition, balance, proportion, variety, and unity. And so, I not only want you to be able to say the word, define the word, but really illustrate the word and be thinking about those concepts whenever you make art. Make sure you're kind of, saying to yourself, is my work, have variety? Is it unified? Things like that. And then we'll also do one related to color theory terms. So tint, shades, monochromatic scale, neutral, cool, warm colors, complementary colors, analogous colors, and things like that. All good things to know whenever you're making art. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.